set?
Yep.
All right.
I just need to note
Yeah,
for the
you
record.
got it.
Thank you.
Okay, for the record, Supervisor Shop motioned and Supervisor Lucia second. Motion to come out of executive session. Let the record reflect that no action was taken in executive session. So we're now in open session. And it's in relation to Resolution 218. Would somebody like to move Resolution 218 for adoption? Motion by Supervisor Shop, seconded by Supervisor Barrett. Before we get into discussion, I'd ask the clerk to read the resolution into the record.
Thank you. Resolution 218 of 2021, introduced by Supervisors Schaaf and Barrett, authorizing the commencement of legal action to recover tax parcels 216.3-9, 216.48-3-3.1, and 216.56-1-4, and authorizing the retention of special counsel. Whereas upon the recommendation of the County Attorney and upon the recommendation of Harris Beach LLP, this board has determined it to now be necessary and prudent to pursue legal remedies to enforce the county's rights. And whereas the County Attorney has recommended that the law firm of Harris Beach LLP be retained to serve as special counsel to represent the county in any legal action to be commenced against the owners, operators, and title holders of tax parcels 216.3-9, 216.48-3-3.1, and 216.56-1-4, and any other necessary parties, now therefore be it resolved that the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors authorizes the commencement of legal action against the owners, operators, title holders, and any other necessary parties for the recovery of tax parcels 216.3-9, 216.48-3-3.1, and 216.56-1-4, and any associated damages. And be it further resolved that the chair of the board or the vice chair of the board in the chair's absence are hereby authorized to execute a retainer agreement with Harris Beach LLP of Saratoga Springs, New York, to serve as special counsel with respect to the initiation and prosecution of the legal action authorized herein, the form and content of such retainer agreement to be subject to the approval of the County Attorney. Budget impact statement. Litigation services will be paid for out of the County Attorney Counsel Fees Fund. Damages sought to be recovered by the county in the litigation will include the expenses of the litigation and attorney's fees.
Thank you. Any discussion on Resolution 218 of 2021? Hearing none, call the roll.
Did we have a motion in a second?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Supervisor Allen?
Yes.
Barrett?
Yes.
Connolly?
Yes.
Gaston?
Yes.
Kuzniers?
Yes.
Lant?
Yes.
Lucia?
Yes.
O'Connor?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Richardson?
Yes.
Schaaf?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Tollison?
Yes.
Veach?
Yes.
Winnie?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
And Zlotnick.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Still on agenda item 14, unfinished business and new proposals. Any other new proposals or unfinished business? Seeing none. Item 15, other business.
Mr. Chairman?
Supervisor Beach.
Yeah, just a quick report. Just wanted to report to our colleagues on the National Association of Counties conference that we just attended. Supervisor Raymond, Gaston, and myself were there representing Saratoga County. The main thing that was good about it was that it was the first in-person session that we had in over a year, so it was very nice that they were able to get a conference together in a few months. It was down in National Harbor, Maryland, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. Just a couple of things. The main thing that we had done on behalf of our own county was that we continued to push the rural wireless resolution on the National County Platform, and it was carried and presented by Supervisor Gaston at the Telecom and Technology Standing Committee. It was passed unanimously at that committee, so we continue to have rural wireless as a national county agenda item, which was started I think a couple of years ago now by Supervisor Wright down at NACO. So thank you, Supervisor, for bringing that down, and we're continuing to push that forward. We chose Larry Johnson from DeKalb County, Georgia, as the president of NACO. Our county has supported him over the past 5 or 6 years, and so I'm glad to see LJ Larry Johnson as the president of NACO, and Mary Jo McGuire as the second vice president, who will be the president in a few years. So basically, we serve on the Community Economic and Workforce Development Committees, Transportation, Environment, Energy, and Land Use of Resilient Counties, International Economic Development, among other programs and things that we're at. So it was a busy weekend, and as well as the Northeast Regional Caucus, which is chaired by Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz. So glad to have New York at the table at the Northeast region at NACO. So it was a good conference, and I would encourage anyone to attend if they have the time, as it's quite amazing to see everything that they do down there at NACO. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your time.
Thank you, Supervisor Veach. Supervisor Gaston.
If you don't mind, I just wanted to say, while I carry the resolution in I do want to make it very clear that it was originally written and presented by Supervisor Wright. It's unfortunate that he was unable to make it to that meeting, but I was honored to be able to carry it and make sure that it was able to be presented, and it did pass unanimously. And so I appreciate Supervisor Wright for all of his work on that. And there were many positive comments with regards to your work in that. So I just want to make sure. I just stood there and wrote a piece of paper. Supervisor Wright was actually the one that did all the work behind that. So I want to make that very clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gaston. Any other business? Oh, Supervisor Land.
I'd just like to take a second to thank the entire board, Chairman Kushner, Steve Bolger, Frank McClement, the 2 girls in the clerk's office, which probably did most of the work, for honoring Abigail Jenks in her untimely death, and for having her mother here and her grandparents receive the flag and the proclamation. I know they were very honored and proud of it, and as well as I am, and my Wilton residents want to thank you all for what you did, and you should all be honored and proud for what you did, and thank you all.
Thank you, Supervisor Land, and the entire behalf of the entire board. We're more than honored to be able to do that. So thank you for bringing that forward. Any other business? Supervisor Zlotnick.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to take a second and read a letter from our town board into the record and give it to for record keeping. This letter is to inform the board of our opposition to any expansion of services, facilities, or land acquisition at the airport located in the town of Milton. As the host community, Milton is requesting the county consider our residents' concerns in the following areas. The increase in helicopter traffic, especially low-flying military training flights, and the local helicopter school have created a new level of noise and vibration, disturbing the peaceful use of our residential properties. Over the years, the jet traffic has also increased, but certainly not to the extent that a new terminal is needed, including a restaurant. If new siding or a paint job are in order for the terminal, that is expected maintenance. The Saratoga County Airport is not a hub. Passengers are not waiting for a connecting flight and unlikely to eat at an airport restaurant. But we would, however, encourage them to visit one of our many dining options and support our tax-paying businesses. The FAA recommendations are just that, recommendations. The fencing upgrade was not mandatory, it is unsightly, and has resulted in the removal of noise buffering trees and expansion into the neighborhoods without clarification or notification of property owners. Our residents already live with the distinction of having the most county-owned, non-taxable property of any town in Saratoga County. We strenuously object to the purchase of additional residential property which borders the airport, further eroding our tax base and potentially encouraging future runway expansion. We, the Town Board of Milton, object to a multi-million-dollar project that creates no benefit for our town or its residents, and respectfully request that, as guests in our town, you consider our concerns in your decision on the scope and size of future projects. Respectfully submitted, Town Board of Milton. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Any other business? If not, I do have some chairman's appointments. I'd like to ask the clerk of the board to distribute those appointments, and please read the appointments into the record. You can start now.
Chairman Kuzniers announced the following appointments. Health and Human Services Committee, appointing Supervisor Darren O'Connor, Chair, Supervisor Sandra Winnie, Member, replacing Supervisor Tara Gaston as Member and Chair. Terms expiring December 31st, 2021. Human Resources and Insurance Committee, appointing Supervisor Kevin Tollison, Chair, replacing Supervisor Darren O'Connor as Member and Chair. Term expiring December 31st, 2021. Saratoga County Public Health Advisory Task Force, Supervisor Darren O'Connor, replacing Supervisor Tara Gaston as Chair of Health and Human Services. Term expiring May 17th, 2023. Law and Finance Committee, appointing Supervisor Joseph Grasso as Member, replacing Supervisor Tara Gaston as Member. Term expiring December 31st, 2021.
Thank you. And at this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chairman,
Supervisor Gaston.
may I make a point, not motion to adjourn at this time?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to state on the record that I believe that these actions, removing me as both member and chair, are contrary to county law, such as already been referred to the county attorney and is also being referred to ethics consideration. Thank you.
Duly noted. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
By Supervisor Barrett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Lamb. All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call vote, sorry.
Supervisor Allen,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Connolly,
Yes.
Gaston,
Yes.
Kuzniers,
Yes.
Lant, Lucia,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Schaaf,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Tollison,
Yes.
Beach,
Yes.
Winnie, Wood,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
and Zlotnick.
Yes.
Motion
Thank
passes.
you very much, everyone.